So hi everybody, welcome. As you all know me by now, it's Damien, and here's one of my other guides for Lab 16. This is going to be a guide on classless subnetting. So the idea is you've just done classful subnetting. That's the plan, okay? So this one, it won't be as long on classless. If you get the general idea of classful, classless, and I'm also going to do a short video for VLSM, which will help you with Lab 17, okay? So this is going to be a quite short video on classless subnetting, and it'll help you doing Lab 16. So let's just get straight into it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over a couple of small bits of theory. I'm not going to go through the whole presentation. So I want you guys to have the presentation as one source of information, and I want you to have this video as a secondary source. Now, this is the first time I'm doing this video for classless, and I'll do another one for VLSM for Lab 17. It's one of the things the students kind of said to me after taking 358 a couple of times, that maybe one or two more videos in particular for classless subnetting and VLSM would help. So I thought, you know, it's probably a good idea. So that's what the purpose of this video is. So what we're going to do is, I've just taken a couple of slides out of the presentation just as a starting point, which are a couple of key slides. And then I'm just going to go through a few examples. That's all. So if you're looking at the lab, there's two different types of questions in the lab. And I'm just going to go through a couple of examples on each of those questions. So this should really get you going. So let's just have a look at this. So needless to say, the key difference is with classless subnetting is when we talk classful, and that's what we did predominantly, well, it's what we did all in IFT 259. Here we're going to focus on classless, which means simply what? You have an IP address which is not predefined to a certain class. It doesn't. So the idea of classes A, B, C, D, and E are basically gone out the window. No such thing in classes. And we are now living in a classless world. And I think I said that in the video for classful. We're living in a classless world. So literally means you get an IP address and it's not tied to any class anymore. So you get your IP address and you get your slash notation. Okay, that's what you get now. And you basically can decide with that slash notation how many basic network bits that you need, or how many host bits that you need, etc. Whatever we're going to go with it. So that's the idea. Makes it a lot easier. Okay, and as you'll see, doing classless questions is really, really easy. VLSM is easy when you do these two. And you've already taken IPv6 and you've looked how easy subnetting is with IPv6. So it has gradually gotten a lot easier from the days of classful. So let's just look at this example, and I'm going to go through a couple of these examples. So in this example, we're given a standard IP address. Now, like I said, it doesn't matter. This is a 135. So you'd be kind of saying to yourself, is that a class A, B, C, or D? It doesn't matter in this case. Okay, that's gone. So we've got a 135.34.115.36 and a /22. And from that, we're basically asked, so with that address and subnet mask, we're asked three questions. What is the network address? What is the subnet mask in decimal? And what is the broadcast address for this address? So this address, this 135.34.115.36, is an IP address which has been allocated. And what we're asking is, what network is that been allocated in? And what's the broadcast of that network itself? So that IP address is already been allocated. What's the network that it's on? What's the broadcast of that network? And then what's the new subnet mask? What's the subnet mask that we're using? Okay, so there are three questions that we're looking for. And to help understand that, I kind of found this term a few years ago on one of the YouTube videos, the octet of interest. I think it's actually pretty interesting, pardon the pun, that we're going to focus on one particular octet. Now we know we've got 4 octets. So we're going to focus on one of them, and that's where all the action happens. And how do we know which octet it is? Well, that's what the slash tells us. So in this case, we're looking at a /22, which effectively means, okay, that the first 22 bits are going to be used for my network. Simple as that. Okay, and the rest of them are going to be used for hosts, like it is here. So we know we're dealing with a 32-bit address, 22 are going to be network, and that's why you can see here, I'm just going to use my little marker here, that's why these, right down here, they're what I have available from my hosts. Okay, so that's the key part. So we've now established that this octet of interest, which I really like this key term, this octet of interest, in this case, it's going to be on the 3rd octet, right there. What tells me that? This value tells me. Okay, so that's the first key opening point for doing that. Okay? So with that in mind, let's jump ahead back to the question that we're looking at. Okay? So we're asked, what is the network that it's on? So we know, like I said to you, we're focusing on the third octet. Okay? And there's a couple of things we can do before we even touch this. There's a couple of things that we can throw out there. We know two things. These are going to stay fixed. These values, they're going to remain fixed. We do not touch these like I have written down here. We do not touch these octets. We're only going to, in a sense, play around with this one. Why? Because of this. Recap, classless, A, B, C, D, and E, all out those letters out the window. We just need to find how many bits are being used for my network and how many then are going to be used for my host and my subnet IDs. That's what we're doing. So these are all out the window. All classful stuff is gone. Okay? So let's go back to our question. If we're dealing with the third octet, okay, how many bits had we left? So let's jump back, if I can, to this one here, right? So I'm just going to rub these out, okay? Rub that one. So we have basically got 2 bits right here. 2 of them. The rest of these, and these, they're basically all taken. I can't do anything with them. They're kind of gone, okay? Because that's what the slashed up here tells me. So I've got 2 bits here, okay? So if I've got 2 bits, okay, I want you to look at this. I'm going to look. So I've got 2 bits. I'm just going to call them X and X, okay? And you'll see this straight away when you think about it. What will my first network be? Well, I know my first network. I know it has to be 135.34. That's fixed. The first network is going to be 0.0. That's a given, okay? My next one, how do I know it's a .4? Well, I've got 2 bits. So how many possible hosts, in a sense, can I have with those 2 bits? 4. I can, in a sense, have 0 to 3. Okay? So that's why this has gone up to the .4 network up here. Okay? This then is gone to the .8 network up here. Because I've only got, since 2 bits to play with. That's why that is. And that's going to go all the way down. So if you think about it, this kind of next bit of ID, what I want to call it, I've only got 2 bits to play with. And those 2 bits will give me, so it's going to be 0 to 3, you can see here. Then it's going to be 4 to 7, it's going to be 8 to 11. I'm just following here. That's right, I'm just put those right in there. That's what we're going to, for that bit. We're not going to touch, remember, we're not touching the 4th octet, we're not touching the 1st or the 2nd. We're focusing on the 3rd octet because of this over here. So, we're asked, what network is this value on? What do? We got to keep going down till we find eventually where 115 is covered. Okay? Right there. That's where that IP is going to be right in there. It's going to be in that network in there. Okay? So, what's the network address? 135.34.112.0. Okay? What's the broadcast? What's the new subnet mask? Well, needless to say, now it's going to be up to 252. How do we get that value of 252? Well, we know all the 8 bits are turned on here. We know all the 8 bits are turned on here, and only the first 6 bits are turned on in the 3rd octet. So if you add up all those 6 bits, like we've done many times before, you should get 252. Okay? The last bit, what is the broadcast for the address for this address? Well, we know we're looking at 112 as the network address. Okay? And inside there is going to be, look, inside here is going to be our value. And the last one, that's going to be over here, is going to be 115.255. It's the one previous to this. So whatever the last address is, the next one will give you 116. That's what that is. So that's the answer to that question. Okay, so let's jump ahead to the next question. Similar type of question over here. We're asked, what's the network address, broadcast address, and subnet mask? Same principle. It's a /27. Okay? So the question then is, right, we're looking at, so forget the fact that it's a 104. Doesn't matter, that's a class A. We're not dealing with that now. Okay, we're just now going to say it's a /27. Okay, so what octet are we playing with? And that's the key part here. We know straight away if we've got 32 minus 27 gives us 5. Okay, so we've got 5 bits left. We're going to be working in the 4th octet over here. Okay, because remember, these 3 octets give us 24 bits, but we're saying 27. So if we say 24 plus 3 is 27, we have 5 bits left. Okay, and 5 bits will give us 2 to the 5 will give us 32. Helps. Okay, that makes sense so far? Okay, so with that in mind, what do we have to do? Okay, we got to go as far as 190 because this is an IP address. So we got to go up to 190 with this. That's what we got to do. Okay, so let's go to 190. Now I got to go all the way down. Now I'm going to do a jump. I'm going to take a quick jump here, right? I know it's in groups of 32. Okay, so I'm going to basically, if I write up my subnets, I'm going to go 0 to 31. Okay, 32 to say, you know, we get the general idea here, was it 63? Then we're going to go 64, we're going to go all the way. Okay, that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to jump up to 160. Okay, I'm going to go to 160. Okay, I'm going to go to that subnet. Okay, if I keep going all the way down and keep adding 32s. Okay, so I'm going to get 64. Okay, 96. Keep going all the way down. You should get to 160. Okay, and then you're going to have what? 192 over here, and this will be to 191. Okay, so then the question is, where is 190 fitting in? It's fitting in over here. So what's the network address? I'm going to write here 104.168.226. Why? Because the octet of interest is this one. Okay, dot, we're asked for network ID, and we know it's in the 160. That's where it fits in there. So this address right there, this IP address, and it falls into this network in here, this small network in here. Okay? Let's jump to the broadcast address. This knocks it off the bat. It's going to be a .191. That value right there. Okay? And then the last one is, remember, we've done what, a /27. So a /27 is probably what, a .224. So we're going to go 255, apologies, let me just get this perfect. So we're going to go 255.255.255.224, I'm hoping. Okay? That's all I got to do. That's the simple one with that. So all we're doing here is, we're doing classes. The classful is out the window. Find where the slash is. That tells you the octet of interest. That's the key part with this. You find your octet of interest and you find what bits you can now use. The rest of the bits, they're gone. Can't use them. Okay? So that's that question. Let's jump to the next one. These are all very similar. Really all very similar. Okay? Here, same question. Now this one's a little bit trickier. Is it? Maybe. Let's have a look. So 25/25, what's the octet of interest? Straight away, we know that's the octet of interest right there, off the bat. Okay, 3 8 to 24, that's the third, we're into the 4th octet. So we're basically just taking the first bit, the rest of those bits. So with the rest of those bits that we can use for hosts, okay, what is the address? So we're now going to go, now this is very short, as you can imagine, right? Because if we think about it, okay, we're going to basically switch on, so it's going to be 2 to the power of 7. Okay, which will be hopefully 128. Okay, so I'm going to basically say 0, okay, to 120. Let me see, what do we want here? We want the broadcast 0 to 127. It's going to be 128 over here to 255. Got to check my maths. Okay, so the question now is, where is 1110? Right there. So network address 110.0. Okay, that's all I'm doing. Sorry, apologies. Oops. 149.0. Okay. Broadcast. Okay. .149.127. And then we have the next subnet mask. I'll just write it down. Please put it in decimal. It's kind of annoying when you're trying to grade these quickly and someone actually writes this in binary. Now it's not because I can tell pretty quickly, but just put it in decimal. So it's 255.255.255. Remember, we've just turned the 1 bit on, so that's going to give us a 128. That's it. That's all we're doing. Short and simple. Okay? I think everyone should be getting where I'm going with this. So the key thing is just to keep going over. You find the octet of interest. How? Based on this value. This is an IP address with inside one of those ranges that you're basically going to split up, which we did it. We only have 2 here. Quite easy. Okay? ID, broadcast, broadcast. That's it. Okay? Let's jump ahead to the next one. Okay? So I'll give you a couple of seconds like to do in these videos to do it yourselves and say, okay, you had your general idea. Let's go ahead and do it. So it's the 21st octet. Okay? So here we're looking at the 21. What octet that's going to be in? Well, we know 8 and 8 is 16, so this time we're looking basically at the 3rd octet right in here. Okay? Does it complicate things? No, it just means that we know that the last octet really here is going to be a 0, because we're not going to touch it, so it's going to be a 0 off the bat. We just need to find where this is, where this value is going to appear. Okay? So if we go 21, we know 8 and 8 is 16. 16, 21, that is just 5 bits, so we've taken 21. Right, so just remember, so I'm going to go 8 plus 8, okay, that's 6, that's the first 2, plus 5, okay, that gives me 21, and then I'm going to have 21, that's going to give me 3 bits, so the last 3 bits, okay, of the 3rd octet, okay, so 3 bits, okay, of 3rd octet, the last 3 bits, okay, and now we know with 3 bits, what do we have to do? Well, with 3 bits, how many combinations can we possibly have? Well, we're going to go 2 to the 3. We know we're going to go 0 to 7. And we're going to go 8 to 15, 16, all the way down. Now, when do we stop? When we have this value included. When this value is in one of those ranges. So let's just jump ahead. We're looking at, so we're going to go in groups of 8. So if I go to say, let's jump down to 160, because I know that's a given. Then I'm going to go to 152. Then I'm going to go to 144. Then I'm going to go to 136. Let me just make sure that's right. That's right. Is there nothing there? Looks positive to me. Can I go back again? Well, if I go this time, I'm going to go 128 in there. So 128 is going to go to 135. Oh, yes. I should have gone an extra one like I did. So now, where's 130? Bingo. Right in there. This little one here. Network address. .128.0. Okay. Broadcast address, we're going to go, it's going to be .135.255. And just for completeness, so we're all happy, 111.35.135. That's perfect. So I'm getting that value from there. And remember, it's a broadcast, so I've got to make sure the last octet is also 225. And the subnet mask, we'll just do, what will the subnet mask probably be? Be 255.255, probably at 248. But you know where I'm coming. If I made a mistake, you know where I'm coming up with this. We only we've basically put on 5 bits of the 3rd octet. So whatever. So it's like 128 plus 64 plus 32 plus 16 plus 8. You know where I'm going with that. So that's that question done. Okay. Same format. That's all we're asking for in this. It's a lot easier to do this than it was with Classless. So like I said to you, let's recap. I think we've got one more question. We've got one more question here with this. Let's just recap what we're doing. First thing is we're looking for the octet of interest. And where's the octet of interest here? Well, we know it's 19. So 19 is the /19. Where's the octet of interest? Once again, we're going to jump straight ahead into this bad boy right in here. It's in the 247. Okay? Why? Because 8 and 8 is 16 and it gives us 3. So now we're basically taking 3 bits from the 3rd octet and that leaves me with 5. 5 bits. So it's the last 5 bits. Let me just make sure 8 and 8 is 16 plus 3 gives me 19 and 19 to 24 gives me 5. It's the last 5 bits. So we know then it's 2 to the 5 and that's then going to give me 32. So once again, I'm going to go in jumps of 0 to 31. And I'm going to go from 32 all the way down. Okay, now this time, okay, it's going to be a bit tricky. It's going to go all the way. So I'm probably looking at maybe going, what, to 224 probably. Yeah, I think it's 224, right? So if I just do say, so it's going to be roughly 224. Yeah, it's going to go out into 224. I'm going to shoot down. I'm just going to rub that little part out there. Okay, I'm going to jump down all down to 224, and that's probably going to go to 255. Okay, so straight away, because I knew I had to go down there. Why? Because I was looking for 247. Okay, down in here. So now my network address is going to be .224.0, and that's just for completeness, 70.49. Okay, broadcast address, like we said here, it's going to be 25. Let me just put in .255, and we're going to have .255, and just for completeness, .49. And again, the subnet mask is probably going to be what? 255.255, probably .224.0. And that's it. So that will cover hopefully the first 7 questions of this lab. So all you can see, look, you're just trying to find the octet of interest. Find the octet of interest. That's the only octet we're basically going to change. Go in, find out how many bits you've left to play with. If you've got 3 bits, that's 2 to the 3. That basically tells you, in a sense, the subnet range. Like how many you're going to have in that small piece of subnet there. Then you get your ID, your broadcast, and then the IP address is going to be within there. Okay? That's what we're looking for. Once you get that value, then you know the network ID, then you know the broadcast, and also you can get the subnet mask. So that's it for the first part. The second type of questions, there's just 3 of them. So questions 8, 9, and 10, it's just a small little change up, I promise you. It's not that big a difference. It really isn't, okay? There's just a small little change up, okay? And the idea is here is, we're now asking, what is the subnet mask? Fine. First available host of subnet 1. So we're specifying here subnet 1, okay? I've said this to you in the video before. This has kind of changed a little bit, where sometimes when you got your subnets, old school said you lose the first, you lose the last. And that was just purely because of the whole network IDs and broadcast ID, you had multiple. Now they're kind of saying, you know what, you don't lose the first, you don't lose the last. So I know, even though it might say here, just do it for the lab questions, okay? So we're not looking for subnet 0. And then the maximum number of hosts per subnet. So that's the 3 questions that we're looking at here, okay? Like I said, now, the reason I want to just put in, this is important, and I had this in my 259, I also had it in my Classless. This is a very handy little table to have. Okay, I kind of got you to memorize this. It's kind of key. You know, the idea is that you have your binary values down here, these are your 8 little bits down here, and with those 8 bits, how many hosts can you have for those bits, and how many subnets? Needless to say, if you have 1 bit, you can have 2 hosts, 0 and 1. If you've got 2 bits, you can have 4 hosts. Get the general idea. You get 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. You get where I'm going with this, all right? So this is a very handy table, because what you're asked here, I've given you a network ID, which is here. Okay, remember, let's keep going, let's keep emphasizing it. No more classful, okay? So it doesn't matter that's a 211. It could be a 110, it could be a 15, it doesn't matter. And then I'll say the subnets required. And that's key. Why? Well, the subnets required is going to tell you, in effect, where to draw your line. How many bits do you actually need? That's the key part here. Okay, so that's the key. So now we're asked for 20. So I'm asking for a number of subnets. So this time, rather than going from the right, I'm going from my left. So I need 20 subnets. Where am I going to draw a line? Right in here. So these is what I need. I need all these. I basically need these 5 bits here to give me the number of subnets that I need. Remember, if I drew it here, down this, if I drew it here, that wouldn't be enough. It would only give me 16. That's not what I need. I'm asked for 20. Okay, does that make sense so far? All right, let's just rub this out in here. Okay, so with that, if I know I'm drawing my line here, okay, what is my subnet mask? Okay, so let's go in here. So I know I'm focusing. Okay, so I'm going to basically go 211.68.210. Subnet mask. Someone could have told me that one. So I'm going to go, apologies, 255.255.255. Any takers? Well, I'm going to basically go over here. I'm going to add 128 plus 64 plus 32 plus 16 plus 8. Okay, and I'm hoping that gives me 248. 248 is my new subnet mask, right in there. Okay, so again, I've given an ID, network ID, subnet's required. What's the new subnet mask? This right there, that 248. Why? Because I've basically taken these 5 bits over here. This is going to basically give me what I need to answer this question. Okay, so next question is, what's the maximum number of hosts allowed? So we're looking for the maximum number of hosts on a subnet. Okay, well, we know this. Okay, if I'm basically taking 32, I'm going to go to 8, because we know this is diagonal. Because if I've got 32 subnets, which I now have, 32, the magic number in this case is 256. Okay, so if I've got 32, it's going to be 8. But we know we always talk usable, so I'm going to say 6. Okay, that's the maximum number of hosts for each of these subnets. Said subnets required, I had to give 32. The maximum number of hosts in these is going to be 6. Okay, the last one is, what's the first available host on that subnet? Okay, that's what we're looking for here. So remember now, we're looking for the first available host on subnet 1. Okay, so now let's go, so think about it. What is our range? We've only got 3 bits that we can use for our hosts. 3. So straight away we know we're going to go from 0. So remember, 2 to the 3 will give us 8. Okay, so it's going to be 0 to 7. Okay, 8 to 15. And then 16. You get where I'm going with this. Okay, so subnet 1. We are not allowed to use subnet 0. This is subnet 1. First available on that subnet. 9. It's going to be .9. So we're looking at 211.68.210, apologies for my writing here, .9. That's what we're looking for. So like I said, we're not looking for subnet 0. Questions 8, 9, and 10 follow the same pattern. Okay, you're asked for a number of subnets, which this is a very, very handy diagram to have. This is just a different way of asking a similar question that we did for questions 1 to 7. That's all. Okay, this time you're asked for a number of subnets, draw your slash, those bits are being used for the subnets over there. Like we said, in this case we're using 32. How many hosts can you have in that subnet? Well, we know the max you can have is 6. It's the max you can have in these subnets. And then we've got bits left over here, the hosts, okay? And we know basically we're going to have it, like we said, we're going to have 0 to 7, that's our 8. You know, we lose 2, that's where we get our 6, just to keep it consistent. We lose 2, and we look for the first subnet 1, is this one over here, and we want the first IP address, and that's 9. So hopefully this will give, this last maybe 20 minutes, and will give you, well, it should help you with the lab, there's no question about that, but it'll also show you the advancement that we've made from Classless, where, you know, like borrowing bits and all that kind of stuff. This is a lot simpler. So again, the key thing is, the slash is the most important part. It really is. In this case, we didn't tell you the slash in questions 8, 9, and 10. In questions 1 to 7, we said to you, there's the slash, off you go. In this case, you basically had to find where the slash was to find out the number of subnets that you needed. Okay, so hopefully this will help you with the lab 16. Like I said, this follows up from the presentation. This now lab will accompany the presentation and will also help you then with some of the questions on the assignment number 3 as well. But needless to say, look, if you have any questions, reach out in the hallway conversation, communicate with myself, slip me an email, do what you have to do. And I said, if you've enjoyed watching this one, there's going to be another even a shorter little video for VLSM, variable length subnet masking. Because what you found out with Classful and Classless at the moment is, each of the subnets that we've been creating, and we know why we create subnets, we know why at this stage, they've all been the same size. Variable length says, do you know what? Yeah, wouldn't it be nice if we could actually change these sizes? Because even though we still only have 6 usable, if I only need 2 IP addresses, I'm still basically losing some. So variable length lets actually specify within reason what size subnet you actually need. So please follow me on to my next video, which will be variable length subnet mask, which will help you at lab 17. Thank you for your time. Bye bye.